Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm an EarthWay product specialist, and today we are going to assemble the 40-pound residential broadcast spreader. So first things first, let's go over our tools that we need. You can either have socket wrenches like this, or you'll need 2 wrenches. It's pliers. You'll need a pair of needle nose pliers just once, and some scissors to open all the hardware bags with. And then you'll need a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Okay, I'm gonna set these to the side for right now. We're just gonna have what we need. Okay, first things first, your hopper is what you're starting with and what you will end with. You want to make sure that EarthWay is pointed away from you, the hopper's upside down. So from this view, EarthWay is pointed towards the wall, I'm behind it, okay? Let's look at the manual. First thing we need to do is grab the frame. This is the frame. The frame will sit right here on top of the hopper. So we're going to grab 4 screws, like this, 4 screws and our Phillips screwdriver. I'm going to just simply assemble this. And you want to tighten them down so that it doesn't move. But at the same time, don't tighten everything down because we're going to go back and make sure everything is tightened down completely at the end, because some components move and shift to get other ones in place. Perfect. You can set that aside. I think we're done with that. Next thing is we're going to grab the gearbox. This is the gearbox. Notice the gearbox has an arrow on it. Your arrow needs to be pointing towards the front of your hopper. So away from you, pointing towards the front of your hopper. And you're just going to slide that right into place. Now we're going to install the lower handles. These are the lower handles, weirdest looking thing. And they are going to be installed just like this. I'm going to go up from this side because they are a little weird. So this is what you're popping in, and then this hole, this goes on this side, but this hole has to line up with this hole, has to line up with the hole right there because we're going to screw something through it. So, but to begin with, just pop it on and then it can slide down. Don't worry about getting the holes matched up just perfectly. There you go. We're going to do the other one on this side. Just like that. Go down into place. There we go. It should kind of look like, oh, this is where my handle is going to be. And we're going to secure these 2 holes with your 2 1/4 bolts. So those are your long bolts, very long. And you need 2 lock nuts. Put that through here. It might not quite just snap into place, and that's okay. Just give it a little bit of a nudge or a screw. Then you put your lock nuts on this side. Now we will go and tighten these in just a minute, so don't feel like they're not tightening. I need a lock wrench to do this. Perfect. Now for the axle. This is the axle. Now notice the axle has 1 hole really close to the end on one side and 1 hole kind of far away. That is very important. So make sure that this is just like this, how we've had it always. You're gonna put the hole that is closest to the end is going to go through this side of the gearbox. Okay, so it takes a little bit to like wiggle through there, but just put it in like that for now. This flat part should go in to the gearbox. And then we're going to put in our bearings. Now I've put 1 in right now because they're difficult to put in. Now it's gonna go, there's a notch on the bottom of it. The notch is going to match up with the notch that is in your lower handle. And the big part's gonna be on the outside, the smaller part's gonna go in towards the middle of the spreader. Now it's going to be difficult. You might have to put it on a table to do it because it doesn't go in very easily. There we go. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can put our axle all the way through. So let it come through this side It's gonna have to lift up a little bit, so don't worry about that. You will lift up everything a little bit. And this is gonna go through here, just like that. It's okay if it shifts back and forth. It's supposed to be a little loose. We'll get everything set in place by the end. Okay? And if you notice, the gearbox is turning correctly. That means we did it correctly. Next, we're going to put in the wheels. So here are your two wheels. They're identical. Don't worry about one being the drive wheel versus the coast wheel. Just know that your drive wheel is on the right side of the spreader. So left side in the assembly. When you flip it up, right side of the spreader. That was kind of confusing the first time I did it. So put in your right wheel. It's gonna go over here. This is where the holes matter, where the holes that we put in that are at different sides. So this side's gonna go here. Okay. And we're gonna line that hole up with that. So there shouldn't be any left over on the outside, any of your axle. Your hole should line up with the hole in the wheel, okay? And once we get that set, we're going to take our long cotter pin. This is what a cotter pin is it's a skinny thing. We have a short one, so the long one, we're going to take and put through that hole, just like that, and bend it. Bend one side and bend the other side. There are two sides to bend. Okay. Next, we're going to do the second wheel. And it's going to go in on this side, but notice that when you put it all in, there we go, some of it should peek out the end. And what I mean by that is there should be some axle peeking out the end, and that's important. So what we're gonna do with that side is put your big washer, 1 inch in diameter, and your small cotter pin right here. And we're gonna put the washer on first, and then the cotter pin in. And then do the same thing with our needle nose pliers to bend the cotter pin. And this might take a little bit, so don't worry about it. Next, we're gonna flip it up on its wheels, right? Upright on its wheels means like this. There we go. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, so now we have it upright on its wheels. My wheels are shifting a little bit. I'll go a kind of side view. Okay, we're gonna take the handle shaft. Now this is different depending on which manual you have. If you have the manual that says 2600A-Plus, then we're doing it right. If you have the manual that says 82640, you're skipping step 8, 9, and 10 because you actually have this perfectly in there. You're gonna set in the handle shaft and boom, you've got everything done. This is your handle shaft, okay? Doesn't matter which hole, the holes are in the same place. Okay, and we're gonna put this in with 2 of our lock nuts and 2 of our bolts. Okay, 2 of these and 2 of our lock nuts. Now this can get a little tricky if it doesn't stick in real nicely, but keep going because it'll get there eventually. Now, we're going to secure that with a lock nut. Do it again. Secure that with a lock nut. Okay, now we're going to go back and tighten things up. So I'm going to use a 7/16 wrench with one of these just to tighten some stuff up. Make sure everything is in place. Next, we're going to get our handle assembly ready. First things first, put your rubber inserts on your handle. Nice firm rubber grip. Make sure that you don't hurt yourself when you're spreading. Nice and comfy. Okay, these are going to go right here, but the trick is this is going to come with it too. This is your gauge, very important. How much you're spreading, what holes are open, all sorts of things. So we're going to go like this. This one's the tricky one, so you're going to have your handle right here line up with these holes, but you're also going to have this, if it will, there you go, do that correctly, is going to line up with these holes right here, okay? So we're going to grab 2 of our lock nuts, 2 of our bolts, grab this, go here, just like that. And then this is going to go through. Again, you might have to twist these a little bit to make them actually go through the hole, because they are bolts after all. They're supposed to keep things stuck where they need to be. There we are. And again, we're not putting the lock nuts on yet because we only have a one-handed spreader right now, and that's not helpful. We need 2. So we're putting them through the other 2, just like that. And then we're putting our lock nuts on the end. There we are. Just put on the rest of that rod. All right, so this is the thing we're putting on. It is one of your normal bolts with your medium-sized washer, black spacer, and a lock nut. Okay, so first you put on your washer. There's a very nice diagram in the manual if you want to look. Then your spacer. Then you put it through this hole right here. The spacer will go through, don't worry. And then you'll put it through this hole in the handle shaft as well. Just like that. Put your lock nut on the other side and tighten. This is an important feature. There we go. Perfect. Okay, what's next? Now for all of you that skipped the handle assembly, we are back together again. We're going to grab our control rod. This is what makes the spreader actually work. Your control rod has one end that looks like it was squished or pressed. That fits in this keyhole right down here, just like that. Okay, fits in, nice, loose, good. And then the rest, I'm gonna bring this up a little bit, fits right here. And how do we connect these? With our remaining hardware. We have a hex nut, very small, a very small washer, and a carriage bolt. You're gonna put your carriage screw through both of these holes here, just like that. Your washer on the back, and put your hex nut to seal it, but don't tighten it. Just put it in real nice, because now we're going to calibrate it. And to calibrate it, we want to make sure that this is all the way at 30 degrees, so the farthest back that it can go. And you want your shutoff plate, which is this knob right here, is going to be all the way open. So make sure your holes are all the way open, all 3 of them open, okay? Next, we're going to simply tighten our hex nut. You can use a wrench, tighten it by yourself. I'll get the wrench. Next, now that it's calibrated, which means when you go like this, now they're fully closed. When you go like this, Now they're fully open, which means it's calibrated, it's not gonna mess up. We're gonna put the agitator pin inside the hopper to seal it off. Congratulations, you have assembled the 40-pound residential broadcast spreader.